It has been characterized as a money-saving proposal for Idaho taxpayers. No public money to be used for anyone trying to transition their gender. House Bill 668 has already made it through the House, and today it was up to the Senate State Affairs Committee to give it their go-ahead. But there was almost no discussion of tax dollars or how much of them will actually be saved by passing this bill. The debate was all about transgender health care, which brings us to the question and brings us Joe Paris. What are they trying to accomplish here, Joe?
Well, it depends who you ask, but the bill sponsor, Representative Julianne Young, says that she wants to save Idaho taxpayer dollars. House Bill number 668, titled "No Public Funds for Gender Transition," would accomplish exactly what the title says. The bill's language explains that the legislature believes that gender transition procedures carry substantial risk and harmful effects. Essentially, the proposal bans the use of all public funds, including Medicaid coverage, to pay for any surgery operations or medical interventions for the purpose of gender transition, regardless if it's a minor or an adult here in Idaho. And there are stands against the legislation for a few reasons. One highlighted in committee. The legislation singles out one group from care. Equal protection? Maybe not.
So what this bill is doing is it isn't blocking specific medications. It's blocking specific identities of people from accessing medication that everyone else gets access to. So the problem with this bill is really in that for me. It's not blocking something that not everyone accesses. It's blocking something that that a lot of people access in lots and lots of different ways. And I think this should be left up to doctors and the patients, right?
Lily, who you just heard from, highlighted for the committee that there are drugs prescribed by doctors that would be okay for one diagnosis, but not others under this proposed bill, essentially making the legislature weigh in on what is medically sound. Bill sponsor Julianne Young, who acknowledged that this is supposed to be a tax bill, she closed with these thoughts.
You've heard today that these treatments are medically necessary and that they are life-saving. You've also heard that they are gender-affirming. I'd like to speak to that just briefly. You can interrupt normal, healthy sexual development with puberty blockers. You can administer cross-sex hormones to create secondary sex characteristics of the opposite sex. You can remove healthy sexual organs, but you can never create the healthy sexual function of the opposite sex in an individual who is not that sex. It's scientifically impossible.
Okay, so it's pretty clear. Two very separate sides. We understand where they sit. But you may be wondering, Joe, Brian, you said this is a tax bill. How so? Well, lawmakers say that they don't want to waste taxpayer dollars on potential care that they don't agree with. So what savings would House Bill 668 actually accomplish? The answer is we don't know. The fiscal note of the legislation says that while there are specific savings are difficult to quantify, this is because of a lack of data regarding the current expenditures for these medical and surgical interventions. But they do say, Brian, that it is anticipated there will be financial savings. Again, the committee asked the representative exactly, do you have any exact numbers on this? And she said no. The legislation passed, it goes to the full Senate.
Even if it's $5, there's going to be savings to the taxpayers, but that's obviously not what they're getting at with this bill. This idea that healthy sexual function, is that the ultimate goal of somebody who's transitioning? That is debatable as well.
Right, and that depends on each individual. And I'll say for some people that are transitioning, their goal is not to try to put themselves in a new body that functions differently. Right. What they're trying to do is take the body they're currently in and mold it to a way that they feel comfortable in. So I understand what Representative Young is saying, but depending on who she's addressing, there are different priorities in terms of health care.
And again, I don't think we saw any testimony in favor of this bill today.
No testimony in favor. Everybody who testified was against. Again, it passed by one vote to the full Senate.
Thanks, Joe.